Hey there, and welcome to I Have a Buyer, Now What? So, probably you are in the phase of out showing properties to these clients, and now we're getting ready to write offers. So, once we've identified their ideal home, what we're going to do is we're going to review the disclosures and comparables with them. You'll want to make sure that they know that this is going to take some time and that they need to sit down with you, whether it's on Zoom or in person, to review those disclosures and comps. That way, they know what they should be offering for the home. Once you're in the reviewing disclosures process, you'll want to start asking them what inspections they want to do. If the home has had no inspections, they more than likely are going to want to do a home, roof, and pest inspection. Ask them, which do you want to do? Show them the buyer election form and have them choose which inspections they want to do. This way, you'll know ahead of time what inspections you're going to need to schedule when you get their contract accepted. Cool. So once we've decided which inspections we're going to do, you're going to put those in your notes and make sure that you hang on to that. Next up, we're going to review that actual contract with them and the timeline. You'll want to go through the RPA with them, note key times, key dates, key finances, right? What's the EMD look like? Why is it 3%? Things like this. So next up is actually delivering that contract to the listing agent. Listing agents like contracts delivered a plethora of different ways. Some like disclosures IO, someone in an email, somewhat an email that has the contract bunched out into each individual form. Here's the thing. Each agent is different. Call the listing agent. Please be communicating with that listing agent constantly to find out things. For example, how do you want me to deliver this this buyer's purchase agreement to you? Ask the agent. That way you know how to deliver it to them properly. So once we've got that offer in, there's three things that are going to happen. Either it's going to get accepted, yay, we throw a little hooray party, congrats, woohoo, or it'll get countered, in which case you'll go through the negotiation process. You'll speak with your folks, your buyers, to find out how they want to move forward, or it just gets rejected and we move on to the next and start this process over. Now, what we're going to go through is we're going to pretend like our offer was accepted. First try, first time they ever wrote an offer. Woohoo, offer accepted. Big stinking deal. Okay, so next we're going to open up escrow. And what you're going to do is quite literally, you're going to go over to Slack and look up different templates folks have used to open escrow. What you want to make sure that you do is email over the lender, title company, the TC that you're working with. Ask the listing agent for their TC, include them in there. Include the lender as well. And if your lender also has an assistant, include them. All parties except the buyer and seller should be in this email, including your partner agent. If you're working with a partner agent as well, include them in this email. In the email, you are going to want to include only the RPA. Now, if there's a joining doc, say an addendum, or if there was a multiple counter offers that ended up going through, of course, send that over. The point of this being is we don't want to send any disclosures or inspections. That's a big no-no. It could lead to the seller needing to do work on the property, things like this, and that's just a whole gunky mess we're not going to deal with. So just make sure that you send over the RPA. You're also going to want to introduce your client to your TC, and you're going to want to introduce them to the title company. Again, it's a simple email. Hey, Mrs. and Mrs. Buyer, I'd like to introduce you to, and then introduce your TC and the title company. Please make sure to include your buyer's phone numbers too. That way the title company can reach out directly to the buyers when it comes time to do the EMD, when it comes time to do the final signing and things like this. And in the same token, make sure that the title company's phone number is included there. That way your buyers can make sure that they reach out to the title company. Oh, I thought I was not recording for a second. I had to make sure. Okay, awesome. So once you do that email to the title company, make sure to also let them know, hey, the buyer is aware that they are going to be getting wire instructions from you, the title company. Now the template time that we have to get the EMD in is typically 3 days, but sometimes to make our offers more attractive, we do a 1-day timeline. So just let your buyer know, look, this is when you need to have your initial deposit in by, this is the exact amount. Please coordinate with the title company to do that. And make sure at this point that you're letting your buyers know about wire fraud and to be very cautious of the emails that they're getting and receiving. Now, let's say that the EMD was due in 3 days. Make sure that you're following up with the client those 3 days to make sure that EMD is getting deposited. Now, once that's deposited, you're going to want to go back to the property either during those inspections or just right after the offer is accepted. You're going to want to go do your agent visual inspection disclosure, also known as your AVID. The reason that you want to do that so promptly is because it is a statutory form attached to the TDS and SPQ. So it is a statutory form. You have to get this done. Make sure to watch the other video on how to do an AVID. During this timeline, you're also going to want to make sure that your client is aware of different home insurance referral partners that you work with. Send them at least 2 insurance companies that you know of in the area that you work with. This way they can get started finding home insurance. This is a requirement of most loans. You'll also be working with the lender to schedule the appraisal. Now, since we are on the buyer's side in this scenario, we would likely not hear from the appraiser. It's typically going to be the listing agent that is in communication with the appraiser unless you specifically ask to be point of contact. I always like to do that so that I can go out and deliver my comparables to that appraiser. Make sure you're answering those calls because appraisers are very difficult to get in touch with and get back in touch with if you accidentally miss their call. Once you've got that appraisal set, make sure you've got your comps ready to go that show the justification of price. Now, after all this, we're going to have those, remember when we were talking about the inspections that the buyer was going to do? Well, you've scheduled them at this point, right? You're going to go through and review the inspections with the clients and ask them, if there's anything they want to negotiate, tell them downfalls and upsides to negotiating on just the inspections and waiting until possibly the appraisal. Once you've reviewed those with the client, you're going to either, you're not going to negotiate anything and you'll just send over the contingency removal for inspections, or you're going to ask for a request for repair. When that happens, make sure that if there is an agreement, let's say that the seller is going to credit the buyer $5,000 for the wood rot on the left side of the home. What we want to do is submit an addendum to to the lender and to the title company stating that it's $5,000 for non-recurring closing costs. Again, do not send inspection reports to lenders. Big no-no. All you're going to do is send that addendum over to them. Make sure that the title company and lender get them because, again, what you can think of as the addendums, it's a part of the RPA. It's a part of that playbook that we're all going off of. Once the negotiations have been conducted, the addendums have gone through, make sure that you're sending over those contingency removals as needed. Now, the inspection contingency, that's on us to make sure that we do that. With the financing contingency, when it comes to loan and appraisal, try your absolute hardest to get it in writing from the lender that these timelines are what they are set, right? But not only that, you'll want to get from the lender, yes, you are good to remove appraisal contingency. Yes, you are good to remove loan contingency. If it was over the phone, make sure that you send a recap email. Hey, Mrs. Lender, thank you so much for the conversation today. Per our conversation, the client is able to remove their loan contingency. It's a little bit of extra CYA on your part. Now we're really getting close to the end of escrow here. We'll want to make sure that we schedule that verification of property. This is about a 15 to 20-minute final walkthrough of the home. The home should be destaged, tenants cleared out if that is written into the contract. You'll want to make sure that there's as little on the property as possible so that your client can see it thoroughly. What you're looking for is things, and there's another video, don't worry, that's going to get way more in depth, but basically you're looking for any new defects that we were not aware of. Make sure that when you do that final walkthrough that you send over the final VP form to that listing agent and the TCs as well. At this point, you'll want to make sure that the title company is reaching out to the buyers one-on-one to see when that final signing is going to be scheduled for them. You don't need to be middlewoman in this or middleman in this. Let the title company schedule it out for you and let your client schedule that out with the title company. That being said, we're basically at the end, right? Super exciting. So there's 3 things that happen in order for the close of escrow to go through. First, though, make sure your file is intact. Make sure you have all your documents ready to go. Your TC should be doing this for you, but you are the one that's responsible for your file. So you need to ensure that your sky slope is ready to go. Okay, so let's get back to those final 3 things to close escrow. There's the final signing, the loan being funded, and then the county recorder's office recording the deed from the seller to the buyer. Those 3 things happen, then we close escrow. Sometimes those 3 things are done in the same day, but in the pandemic that we're in right now, it's usually final signing is done a couple days before, then the loan funds the day before or the day of the county recorder's office signing off the deed. So that's a very quick version of beginning to end an escrow, but I hope that it helped you in some way, and know that you can always reach out to us with any other questions. Awesome. Go get them.